The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com.
Sometimes it can be hard keeping up to date with everything going on in the gaming industry. The Sometimes Geek podcast is a quick and easy listen each week that covers all the major gaming news while giving the opinion of an everyday gamer. You can find it at sometimesgeek.com or on iTunes, Google Play, and wherever you normally grab your podcasts.
All Geeked Up is brought to you by the Inked Geek Studios t-shirt. Get yours today at tiny.cc/igswag.
Sitting down when they're, oh my god, hey, this thing is on. Welcome to All Geeked Up. It's All Geeked Up with Nate and Brandon, and we're just having a conversation. I didn't realize the show started, but I'll ask you, Nate. So when you poop, is
this like a running motif for the shows?
When you, I don't know what you mean. When you poop, how do you poop? Like, do you pee and poop at the same time? Do you tuck that thing down in there? That little no? Do you tuck that down below in the bowl?
Why are we talking about that?
Or do you have it up over the top?
I am not comfortable disclosing this information.
Let me ask you this. Do you wipe sitting down or standing up? I sit down and wipe, personally.
I think that's a common thing.
Although, as I get older and fatter, you can't quite get up in there good. So you got to stand up and do the through the legs thing. Front to back to front. Hey, it's Mind of a Geek. And
no, it's not. It's All Geeked Up.
Hey, it's... I need a joke right now. I need a funny joke. I don't have one.
I don't either. I'm so confused.
I know. I just wanted to throw you off with the intro.
Yeah,
I like funny intros.
I am thrown off.
I like weird funny intros.
Yeah, but they're all poop related.
Only two.
The only two we've done.
Last week wasn't poop related.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. There was painting.
No, but then you talked about pooping after the intro.
Oh yeah, that's because I forgot to flush the flush.
Right. Throwback.
Now the first comment we got was, "It's so dark in there."
Oh.
Now isn't that just ridiculous? Because we had that conversation before the show started.
Yeah, like we were talking about before the show. We were
That's fine. That's
yeah.
what we said.
Hold on. Let me brighten this up a little bit for the live audience. Back. Well, that doesn't do anything. See, because the issue is if I turn that on,
yeah,
that just gets really bright.
Nobody wants that. I think right there is fine.
Well, no, that's with that on.
No.
But
yeah, but that's not washing us out.
No, is that good?
Do you really want to see the definition of our shape? I mean, look at that. It's not good.
That's better.
That's fine. So anyway, this is All Geeked Up. When I say geeked, you say up. Geeked?
Up.
Geeked? Up? Geeked up?
Upped.
Geeked up. So what I'd really like to do is have a continuation of where we left off with last week's episode.
Which is why you started talking about pooping?
Basically, I wanted to throw you right off the rails so we could go back into talking about our childhood and everything. But
we do actually have stuff to talk about this week.
But there's things to talk about. So, I know there's a Star Wars show to talk about. Yeah. I know there's movies anywhere to talk about.
Right.
I know there's some games to talk about.
Right.
I know there's some games to talk about.
There's also the Orville to talk about because I'm all caught up.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm excited to hear about that because I haven't watched any of that yet. Speaking of the Orville, the new Star Trek Discovery started, the first of the 2-hour episode.
That I have not watched.
I will probably pass on that, but I hear that it's all right.
Yeah, I'm not a Star Trek guy. So
I am a next-gen guy, but that's about it. So anyway, why don't you tell me about whatever you want to tell me about?
Cool. Well, we will. Should I start off earliest and work my way forward, or start off with the most recent and work my way back? So the earliest, I would think, on Monday we got a Star Wars trailer. We got the final full-length trailer for Episode 8, and I think it raised more questions than it answered, for sure. We got our first full viewing of Snoke, who had Rey in some sort of force control, and saying, fulfill your destiny. So, Star Wars. We had Luke looking at Rey, saying, "I've only seen power. I've only seen something this powerful one other time. I wasn't scared then. I'm scared now."
Which
So,
is,
what is he talking about? Is he talking about Kylo?
they make it seem like he's talking about Kylo, but I don't think he's talking about Kylo. But regardless, he's a Jedi. There's no fear. There's no room for fear. What's he talking about?
He's a gray Jedi.
Well, yeah, but that hasn't been established yet.
Well, no, but maybe that's part of it.
No. No. In the movie universe,
What are you, a Gungan?
as much as Misa so horny. As much as I like the idea of gray Jedi and prefer that, that's what I want, right?
Right.
But will they go so far as to establish that in the movie universe? We'll see.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hints to it. The big one.
I think it's all but in name, right? Because
Right.
he's basically walked away from what would have been the Order, whatever he had established as the New Order.
Right.
But that's gone now.
The New World Order.
So
the
he's-
NWO.
He's basically
Bow, 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 bow. New World Order.
wow. He's that's ridiculous.
What?
We're not there yet, man. We're not there yet. We're just not there yet. He's basically become Ben Kenobi. Like, he is Obi-Wan. He's in exile, you know? What's he watching over? The Porgs?
Oh, I love the Porgs.
You would.
They're so awesome. That scene in the trailer with Chewie and the Porg.
I'm an ass man!
Bum,
Oh, wait.
bum.
No, wait. You're talking about Porgs. That's right.
Hardcore Porg.
Hardcore Porgin. DP in the Porg.
Dirty Porg.
Dirty Porg.
Yeah. So let's So we have Keith in the chat room there, also chiming in. So I'm gonna pull out the last big one of the trailer here, and then we can all kind of talk about it. I will say beforehand, if you are listening to this in podcast form and you have any comments about the last episode 8 trailer, you can tweet at us, all geeked up pod, or email us, allgeekeduppodcast@gmail.com, and let us know, and we will talk about it on next week's show, and go over your thoughts. But so the last big thing in the trailer was Rey saying, "I just want someone to show me my place in all of this," and then we cut to Kylo extending his hand.
Show me the way. Now, I wonder if that was
I
cut to
will
make it
show
look
you
like
the
she was
world.
talking to Kylo, or if she was actually talking to Kylo.
So I have a couple different possible theories. Theory one's the simple one. She was talking to Kylo, and Rey's going to flip. But that may also mean that maybe Kylo will flip. I don't know. But I don't want to see Kylo become a good guy, because I don't want to have to turn on him, because he's awesome. And
I think
can't root
Kylo
for a
will
good
go
guy.
back to the light by the end of the 3. But
I think
I
Kylo
would
will
really like to
die.
see. Yeah, I agree. He will. He will die. He's a Sith. He's gonna die. I would love to get some backstory on Luke and see if he ever went to the dark side in the mythos that we have now.
Right.
And I would like to see Rey go to the dark side for at least a little while.
You want to kind of have her skirt it like Luke did?
Yeah.
So that's one theory, is that they are actually... My other thought is that it's a dream, a Force dream,
Yep.
right? Or vision. Now, here's the farthest fetched one. I don't even think that's the same scene.
No, I don't think it is.
Well,
I think they're cut together.
Now this is the lesser far-fetched one. I think that Kylo's talking to Leia, or helping Leia. He's extending a hand to save her because he goes to kill her and
With
then
the
has
hesitation.
regrets. So
Well, you're talking about the scene where he goes to blow the bridge up of the ship that she's
right,
on. and
I think he
hesitates,
blows
right?
the ship up and then says "fuck" afterwards. Not
Yeah,
literally,
Right.
because then you get screamed at by family members.
But I think in this movie, Leia has to die. Whether or not Luke was
I think
slated
if
to
she-
die in this movie, I think Leia's going to have to go
I
because
think if-
Leia's gone now.
If she's gonna die, I think she's gonna die off camera. I think this, and that tells me she's. Well, I mean, if she does die, I think she dies in the spaceship exploding. I think she dies off camera. But
yeah,
I
I don't think we're going to get like a death scene. No.
but I think that
That's not going to be like Yoda.
I don't think that I think that Kylo's gonna kill both of his parents, and it will cement him into being dark. So
That seems to be the most predictable thing to happen.
and then to go on the flip side of that, as far as Rey, I like to humor the thought that she was talking to Anakin, because
Now that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Hayden Christensen was on set.
But we would have to establish a lot more character for her to know who that is. But in this movie, we are going to have the reveal of what her lineage is, right? Or does it even matter anymore?
No, actually, it's been confirmed we're not going to find out who she is till episode 9.
Really?
Yeah. Keith,
Where did you see that?
it was Eric Peavy, who's a local friend of mine, Well, okay, and not did I say confirmed? Maybe confirmed was too strong of a word. There was a script that was leaked, and in that leaked script, she was not confirmed as to who she is.
Well, we'll
so,
see.
See, I don't think it was obvious that it was Luke. I think, maybe that's one of the more obvious ones, but I think that's probably the highest chance. But I think that they obviously left it for interpretation. As far as Leia not dying in the movie, they confirmed that she wasn't supposed to die in the movie.
Right, that's what I thought. Initially it was going to be potentially Luke dying, and then Leia having the bigger story arc later on. But now
going to have the massive arc in Episode 9. Right.
Luke had his time in youth, and now it's Leia's turn, but not anymore.
Correct.
Although I would say that it's fitting for Luke to have his full circle, right?
Yeah, I think that if it was slated for Leia to live and Luke to die, now that Carrie Fisher has passed away, and we don't get Leia in 9, I think you keep Luke on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You'll have to.
It's the Skywalker saga. Some of the there are some things that in that leaked script. There are some things that, like I said, you don't find out who Rey is. You do find out that Luke knew Rey and knew how powerful she was, and after Kylo started to turn, he went and hid her away so Kylo wouldn't find her. Which you are led to believe in Episode 7 that Kylo knows of Rey, because in the first scene. In the first scene where the girl is mentioned in front of him, he gets really fucking pissed, and he goes, "What girl?" Mm-hmm. So he knows there's a girl.
Right.
Whether or not he put 2 and 2 together that it was her, I mean, obviously not, because he misunderestimated her force strength.
Right.
But yeah, so no.
Really, that's like among the plethora of mysteries from Force Awakens until what's coming. I mean, that's really the one that we're wondering about the most, right? Outside of Snoke. Really, it comes down to Snoke and her lineage, yeah?
Snoke and her lineage and kind of what's going to happen to the big three. I mean, obviously, Solo's dead. So now we got Leia. As far as character-wise, Solo's dead. We've got Luke and Leia. What's going to happen to those siblings?
Are you concerned about what's going to happen with Poe and Finn? And their sword fight action?
Now, see, here's the thing. So I know JJ was pushing that really strong.
That...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that he's back for Episode 9, I mean, whatever, it's cool. Well, we can have a gay interracial couple in Star Wars. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's fine. I just think that in that regard, the social commentary there almost overshadows the movie.
Not necessarily. Because, whatever. They saved each other's lives at one time or another. There was a bond that was formed.
A Brokeback Galaxy far, far away.
Brokeback Galaxy. Brokeback Starship.
Tune in next week for our new podcast, Brokeback Starship. One of us will be behind the other as we do the show. Tune in to find out. That'll be funny.
What the fuck?
2 mics, right? Hey, this is your head right here. Right here.
2 dudes, 1 mic.
Right here. No, over here. This is you right here.
Okay.
Right? This is your head. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm done. It's not funny anymore.
It wasn't funny at first.
It was funny.
Keith said, "Turn the lights back down for that one."
Oh God.
Okay, so shortly right after the 9-ish p.m. debut of the Star Wars trailer, we'll switch over to games. We got the midnight release of Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Holy shit, does this game come conflicted with a lot of bullshit and drama. So Shadow of War is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, which came out in 2014. It is published by Warner Brothers. It is basically, if you're not familiar with Shadow of Mordor and not familiar with Shadow of War, if you are familiar with the quadrilogy of the Batman Arkham games, with Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and then Arkham Knight, it is done by essentially the same developing team, and it's the same exact gameplay. It's hit X to do moves, hit Y to counter, hit B to roll, hit A to jump, and then some extra stuff thrown in there. In Batman, you kind of have like your Batman vision with like your Batarang and like your hook, and then in Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, you have the Shadow who's with you. who you find out is the Calimbrador, the guy that crafted the rings, the rings of power, and you kind of have his bow and stuff like that. But essentially, they're one's a Batman, one's fantasy, but they're very similar games gameplay wise.
Did you mention that it's a Lord of the Rings game?
I said Middle Earth. If that doesn't clue you in that it's a Lord of the Rings game, you probably don't care that it's a Lord of the Rings game.
Some people might need to know.
It's a Lord of the Rings game.
Okay. Well, your first parallel was Batman. Nobody knows what's going on.
Well, never mind.
I'm just fucking with
Anyway, so Shadow of Mordor was great, and it was very well received. It was a great story. It looked beautiful. It played smoothly.
It looked great from what I saw
there
behind.
There was a lot of content in Shadow of Mordor.
You played through the storyline?
I did.
Finished?
I did. Yeah, that was kind of my binge over the weekend before Shadow of War came out.
Right.
So, and again, the story's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You play Tal. Fuck.
Yeah, you're on your own there. I haven't
Tal,
played it enough
Tal
to know.
something. There's a second syllable.
So where it's like two guys together.
It's the ghost and then
Right.
the dude. But the
Do
dude,
they like have like Deadpool-esque dialogue throughout?
Yeah. Actually, he's talking to because you. So this will spoil the first one, which has been out for 3 years. So you, for the most part, are the only one that can see Calimbrador, except for Golem. Golem calls him Brightmaster. Oh, Brightmaster. Brightmaster.
And that happens in the game.
Oh, yeah. Golem is in both games. Golem tries to bash your head in with a rock.
So this is like Shadows of the Empire with Lord of the Rings?
I mean, yeah, kind of. So it takes place between The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Ring.
Uh-huh.
And you play the ranger. So you're essentially Aragorn, but a different character.
Right.
And your family gets murdered by orcs. And Calimbrador, in his great power, chooses you as his vessel to go and seek revenge on Sauron. And you end up bonding and learning about each other. You don't know at first in Shadow of Mordor that he's the guy that crafted the rings. You don't even know his name. He doesn't know his name. So getting into Shadow of War continues the story. So at the end of Mordor, which again, it's 3 years old. So if you're upset with me spoiling it, then I don't know, be more efficient with your game playing.
Yeah, seriously. Get your shit
So
together.
you end up in the end of Shadow of Mordor, you end up killing the Black Hand of Sauron, which obviously he comes back because he's in the movies. But you take out that incarnation of the Black Hand of Sauron, and then he's like, okay, that's it, because the ranger you play actually died. I think I had mentioned that he died.
Yeah, I seem to remember that.
Yeah, he died, and then Calimbrador resurrected him. But the thing with that is once Calimbrador leaves him, he dies again. It's Calimbrador keeping him alive. So he's like, okay, I'm done. Like, there's nothing we can do at this point. We've taken out the Black Hand. I'm not powerful enough to take out Sauron. And the ranger looks at him and goes, are you really willing to give up when he's right there? And that's the end of Mordor. And then you go into war, and Shadow of War is I forget the name of the town. It begins with an M. It's like the last standing town of Gondor.
Mm-hmm.
You fight back a siege in there, and then you're essentially storming the volcano. You're storming Mount Doom, and doing your thing there. So I've got
Is that
about
like minus Taroth or something.
What's that? Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Far be it from me to know much about Lord of the Rings.
But anyway, so the big kerfuffle with this game is that they have loot boxes. Kerfuffle. I don't know why kerfuffle came to mind.
Oh, this was all the drama you were telling me about the other day.
Right.
Through static bad phone connection.
Right. Okay. So they have loot boxes. The game is $60. There's a silver edition where you get a silver loot chest that's $80, and then there's the gold edition which comes with a gold chest which is $100. Or you get them on Green Man Gaming for like 30% off. Not anymore. That was pre-order only, but you could have. So, no. Anyway, so everyone's bitching because there's loot boxes. So for one, it's a single player game, right? So who gives a shit? It doesn't matter if it's pay to win. It's single player. So, but everyone's bitching. They're like, oh, blah, 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 whatever. The thing is that there's nothing that's paywalled. Now, there are certain items that come out of the RNG loot boxes certain orcs, because you end up recruiting orcs as followers and you kind of build your own orc army through domination. Like you use Calimbrador's power to dominate the orcs and turn them. And there are certain orcs that you need to finish the game that come out of the loot boxes. Okay. However, those loot boxes can be bought or they can be earned by playing. There is no special loot box that you can only buy with money that requires anything you need. So there's no paywall. There's just kind of like a pay hurry up.
Right. And when we had talked about this before, I compared it to Battlefield Bad Company 2, where you could, I know my mic arm keeps getting lower and lower and lower, and I don't want to make the noise of lifting it. Yeah, you could, skip ahead and buy everything that you could unlock. But now that I think about it, it's a lot like Marvel, the free game on Steam.
Right. But even then in
where
that
it's,
game,
you're buying all this shit that you can buy is all unlockable within the game.
But I thought there were things in that game that you had to buy
No.
if you wanted them.
No, everything that you can buy, you can get in the game.
Okay.
It's just a matter of how much you want to play.
Right. So that's where that comes down to. Now Overwatch has loot boxes. I know we have Amy in the chat room there who does the Overwatch podcast. Overwatch has loot boxes, but everything is cosmetic.
Yeah.
You can buy them or earn them. Heroes of the Storm also has loot boxes. Now, Heroes of the Storm, you're kind of skirting the line there because you can get skins and sprays and stuff like that, but you can also get champions. So a champion that would cost you $50 or $15, you can get out of an RNG loot box by playing or by buying the loot box or by buying the skin or by buying the character, excuse me. But the thing is, again, is that everything that's in the game is earnable by playing. There's nothing you have to purchase. Now, if there are things you have to purchase, that's when you become pay to win, and that's a problem. Now, let's carry this a little bit further. The one that just came out... hold on. I have to pause for a second. Annalisa, welcome to the chat. We missed you.
Long time no see.
You were on vacation, and based off of Instagram and Facebook, it looked awesome. So very happy to have you back. But anyway, so Star Wars Battlefront 2 also had its beta over the weekend for PC. Mm-hmm. Had its open beta, and everyone's flipping out because, surprise, surprise, there's loot boxes. So, again, same deal. Nothing in the loot box needs to be purchased. The loot boxes are earnable by playing or buying. There is no special loot box that contains a special item that you could only purchase. And even EA just came out and clarified it and said that when you get a gun in the loot box, what you get is you get a card. You still have to be a certain level and play a certain amount and unlock that card to be able to use the weapon. So buying the boxes doesn't give you any real rush.
Right.
But everyone wants to bitch.
What I wonder is if people are of sound mind at least, and they can understand the concept of everything we just said.
No.
No, I'm not asking whether or not they can, but if they can, why are their lives so devoid of substance that this is a thing to get fired up about? There's a lot more shit in the world to get angry about than a fucking loot box containing fake shit for a fake game.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Calm the fuck down.
Well, okay, so these are the same people, and this is
like
where
I can't even care. I don't care.
This is where I get on the fence of it, because these are the same people in Battlefront 1 that bitched about DLC. Everyone bitched. Oh, there's not enough content in the base game. You want to charge the season pass. You want to charge for DLC. Blah, 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 blah. That's why we got here. Because no one wants to pay for DLC. Battlefront 2 got announced, and everybody said, hey, all the DLC is free. You just have to earn it.
Right.
Because here's the thing. I've had this conversation several times. I've had it with you. I've had it with fans. I've had it with fellow hosts. I've had it with just other friends. And I'm sure I've mentioned it on one of the shows before. In 20 years, video games are the only thing to not suffer from inflation.
Yeah, we've had this whole discussion in depth.
Right. 20 years ago, a video game was $60. Now, video games are $60. I know this for a fact because I looked up online. The average salary of a video game developer in 2013 was $83,000 a year. If you look at a game like Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor or Battlefront 2 or anything like that, it is a large development team.
Huge.
If you don't,
Huge.
you can't expect the same hours of content in a modern $60 as you could $60 from 20 years ago.
No, the content, just the work going into the game is so much more.
Right, because not only is it more expensive because of inflation, cost of living.
That's a lot of
things
huge
like
salaries to sustain as well.
But also video games take longer to develop now. Yeah, you've got games like Stardew Valley, which was developed by one guy, but look at that compared to like Battlefront 2, right? So, and everyone goes, well, why can't you give us all the content that was in the original Battlefront 2? Look at your graphical difference. Look at your physics difference. Look at everything. Look at your lighting. Look at your music. Look at your sound effects. Look at everything. Like, there is just more work that goes into the game. What they don't realize is hour for hour, they're getting more content out of Battlefront 2 because more hours went into it.
Right.
But no one sees that because people don't think logically. People go, oh, it's going to cost me an extra $1. I'm going to fight against it. So people don't want DLC. Now we're in this generation, or this small little bi-yearly generation of people don't want loot boxes. Well, you know what?
Well, people see it as more creative ways to be bilked out of money for content that potentially is already within the game that you have to pay to unlock. But while I can see that side, I also totally agree with what you're saying in that there's more work going into the game. So things are going to cost more.
Right. See,
but it's just like everything else.
It's like the same argument. It's like the day one DLC argument, right? And I don't quite know where you stand on that, but like even that argument is bullshit. Because when a game is designed and developed, they have point A to point Z, the alphabet. There's your game right there. You have your start to finish, right? Then they go, okay, well, where can we go with DLC? Where can we go with expanded story? Where can we go with this? Where can we go with that, right? So let's say that I am developing generic adventure game A, right? And I've written the story from start to finish of what would have been the base game that I would have released 20 years ago without internet. Mm-hmm. This is the game. If you want more, you have to buy another $60 sequel, right? So I have A to Z. Now I've gone, okay, this is done. We can have this done. Let's say we start development in January. We're going to finish January of the even year. We're going to finish development in June of the odd year and release it for Christmas of the odd year. So if it's done in June and it's getting released in December or November, you have about 5 months of play there, which is going to be your quality control, your beta testing, things like that, right? Well, while you have your beta testing team working out bugs from the base game, then your development team is working on DLC. And that DLC gets designed and written and developed and produced. It comes along a lot faster because your base game is already there.
Right.
And then they prep that so that DLC is also ready on launch day. So they include it on the disc. They include it on the disc because people bitch when there's 5 or 6 or 7 gigabit downloads or gigabyte downloads because not everyone has fast internet.
Right.
So they include it on the disc as a favor because they go, okay, here's the game that we wrote that's finished. Here's more additional content that we used extra time to develop. We're going to lock it behind a $10 paywall because it's extra content. But because of modern technology, these discs hold a whole lot of space. So we're going to include it on the disc for you so you don't have to download it. It's right there.
Are you all fired up about this or what?
Because people are stupid. Sorry if you're a fan of this show and you disagree with me. That's fine. We can have disagreeing opinions. But how do people not come to that conclusion?
You're obviously stupid if you don't agree.
Well, but people don't look that deep into it. All they look into it is, oh, it's on the disc. It should have been free. Right. No, you're paying for the base game. That's what you're buying. That's not part of the base game. It was never meant to be part of the base game. It was additional content that was paid extra man hours because when there's a base game, there's a budget. They assign so many man hours to that budget. If they create content beyond that budget, that's additional content.
Yeah, I don't know how people don't understand it.
Like the day one DLC argument is stupid.
What's stupid is I don't know who would care. Like, just if you want to play, pay or don't.
The way I look at it is that, you know what, when the complete game is the game in the season pass. Right. That's the complete game. A complete game is $100.
And I mean, when I'm buying a game that I'm really going to be invested in, I'm getting the season pass.
Right. And you know what? And you don't even have to these days. I mean, some you do, but like Shadow of War.
Right.
The base game is $60. The season pass is $100, or the season pass and the game is $100. But I'm primarily a PC gamer, so I got out of Green Man Gaming for 30% off. I paid $70.
Right.
I paid an extra $10, and I get all the content.
I just don't see these people that want to get fired up about this shit, man. I just don't care, and I don't get it. If you want to play a game, play a game.
Because I guess getting fired up over nothing distracts you from getting fired up over all the other shit going on in the world, so it distracts you from it. So at the end of the day, like, who gives a shit about DLC and loot boxes? You know what I mean?
Well, these fucking people do.
No, people get pretty bent out of shape about it.
I hope people listen to this. Set them straight. Goddamn cocksuckers.
Fuck the fucking fuckers. But anyway, so that rant went kind of long. I'm sorry. As far as that, we have WWE 2K18,
which I just played a little bit of. And I can't block on the Xbox One with that long trigger pull.
Yeah, it's a much less forgiving. There's more distance to cover. It's probably like 4 times as long.
It seems pretty fucking long.
But yeah, no, it plays well. It looks good. It runs really smooth. The mechanics are spot on. It's 17 but cleaned up a little bit further.
Yeah, I think if you're into that shit, it's worth the money.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up.
There are a lot more options when it comes to character creation now. Still can't use custom music, and you still can't use. So the game has 2 soundtracks. It has the menu music, and then it has like intro music. You still can't use menu music for intro music. We talked on the phone earlier, and my assumption behind that is because it's licensing. Because you would make the video and put it up online of your character coming out to that music. So it's just going to be a licensing thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying for menu use, not alternate use where it can be heard other places.
Right. So, but no, the menus are a lot cleaner than they were last year. Everything loads a lot faster. There's this really cool... my only complaint so far is I've always been a fan of the career mode, right? And because I do the typical me thing in video games. I make myself.
Oh, you don't just make yourself. You make me.
Well, I mean, as far as my character though, like I make myself and I level up through.
Right.
My only complaint this time is they've kind of gone back to the whole like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain thing, where you actually have to walk around out back.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that is Steve's favorite part.
And
he
it's
was
cool
super
for
excited
5
about that.
minutes.
And that's exactly what I thought when he told me that. Is it the same backstage area every time?
Yeah.
Same truck, forklift, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old, man. I'm not.
It just that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool because you walk around and talk to other wrestlers, and like you can form factions and friendships and get side missions and stuff like that. So the wrestlers are different, but it's the same, and it's not like it's big. It's just, I mean, it's a wrestling game, and there's a lot to load, and they notoriously have slow load times.
Right.
So there's a lot to it.
I'm not interested in the backstage stuff anyway.
Now here's my big thing. Because that's cool, but again, I got the digital deluxe because that's how you get access to it today. Otherwise, it comes out Tuesday. So therefore, I got the season pass, and you also get the fast unlock. You just unlock everything in the game, so you can just play the wrestling game, right? So that's what I'll end up doing, and I'll just do the WWE Universe mode, which is where you basically play through your own storyline. Now, here's what they did that's really fucking cool. So I turned on Universe, right? So I have the universe on, I have my storylines, I have my factions and my feuds and everything else like that, right? So I went in and I went and I played because one thing I love about the new wrestling game is you want to go and see how they prettied up the intros. So I went and I did WrestleMania 33 at night, Balor versus Nakamura. Because they both got really cool intros and everything else, right?
Steve says if he had a disc, he'd throw it in the trash.
For what, 2K18?
Yeah, and that's with what, like a little under 12 hours of straight gameplay, I think?
Yeah, who knows what he's complaining about?
Oh, I could tell you. I have the list.
What's he complaining about? Let's run over it really quick, because Steve's a fan. That's technically fan input.
Well, you give me 2 seconds here.
Sure. Well, while you're looking it up.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes, I've listened to Richard Cheese. That's not where we want to start. I've had some really terrible glitches today. I went for a sharpshooter in a tag match with Brett and proceeded to squat like I was doing one while Earthquake tagged out. Various shit like that. So move glitches, that's bound to happen.
Right.
8-man tag or 8-man whatever is really choppy.
I'm going to give them that one because this is the first time ever that more than 6 men have been allowed in the ring at once.
He says, how can it be choppy, though? Because 12 years ago they had it perfected.
No, they didn't.
I wouldn't know one way or the other. super grossed out that they put Vader as WCW's Big Van Vader, which is
That's personal preference.
nitpicky kind of thing.
Yeah, Big Van Vader was when he was huge.
Royal Rumbles are fucked. Universe is shit. Tournament screen won't load for some reason. Fuck this game. Soaked me for $90.
Well, he's just...
That's crazy. That's a complete 180 because for the past 2 weeks, this is all I've heard about. Is
Right.
can't wait.
And maybe he hyped it up too much. It's still just a wrestling
Well, that's
game.
kind of what I told him. Is that,
if you
hey,
don't
man,
expect
keep in mind that you are getting basically the same game over and over again.
Yeah, it's no different than Madden. Like if you get Madden 17 and Madden 18 and you expect like a total fucking night and day from 17 to 18,
Right.
Yeah, you're getting a repolish.
Right.
So now, see, I'd like to, when there's more time, if he would like get in chat, I would like to know where he says universe is shit, because I actually love the universe. And what I was going to say about it was that, so I did that match, right? The one with Balor versus Shinsuke. And I just did the match. It wasn't in the universe. It was just in like exhibition play, right?
Mm-hmm.
After the match, I was Balor and I won as Balor. After the match, Jinder Mahal came out of the audience and jumped me and started a feud.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, why is that bad?
No, I'm into that, man.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, but who knows? I don't know what his complaints are. But if you are playing the wrestling game, or even if you're not playing it now, we don't have another episode till Tuesday or till Friday. So if you end up picking it up on Tuesday, would love your thoughts and opinions on it. Again, that email address is allgeekeduppodcast@gmail.com.
So I, again, like with him, and I kind of told him or alluded to it at least, like go into it with a grain of salt. Given everything we just said, I don't need to go any further into that, but I'm not going to get all hyped up. You know?
Right. It's kind of like with the Star Wars movie, right? Like there's a lot of hype around episode 8, but it's still a Star Wars movie. You're not going to get like award-winning acting out of it. It's still going to be campy. It's still going to be cheesy. It's going to be a Star Wars movie.
You're definitely going to get better quality than you would have gotten a decade and a half ago, though.
Well, right.
But is there anything in your life, game-wise, that you can think of where you went in and it lived up to whatever expectation you might have had?
Me?
Without anything that you were let down by? There's always going to be something.
Like something that I was super fucking hyped about it, and it was
something that was just the perfectly cooked steak tip in your gaming life.
See, now not. I mean, I don't want to like talk myself up at all, but like I typically don't overhype things. Like I try and keep myself on a level, but I mean, like a Warcraft expansion, maybe like Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King was everything I hoped it would be and more.
The bee's knees. Yeah,
and that was 08. As far as going more recently than that, I don't know. Grand Theft Auto 5 was pretty goddamn close to living up to the hype. Diablo 3, the expansion, not the original release, because that was shit.
Right.
But when Reaper of Souls was released, they preached for months about how it was going to fix the game, and it did. So that lived up to the hype.
There's not really anything. I'm with you where I don't get
movie-wise
too fired up.
I would say Deadpool lived up to the hype.
Deadpool did, but I didn't get too excited for that.
Right.
I don't get too excited for anything because I don't want the letdown.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, look at Dark Tower again. I know I'm going to keep fucking that thing into the dirt, but I knew enough to know that I should not
it to death.
Should not get excited.
It to death.
There's no sense in getting excited because I know how it's going to go. But like I went into it with not much, and it was fucking great.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, no, I don't know. I mean, I try and stay like I get excited about things, but I don't think they're going to be the greatest thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I have some reservation.
Right.
At least I try to. I mean, like, there's been one thing that I was super excited about and had really high hopes for and was totally, like, putting way over the top, but it totally lived up to expexpections.
Your first experience with...
even it, yeah. My first homosexual experience.
Well, I'll take it as you will. I left the door open for you. The back door, hey!
Zinger.
Zingery-doo.
Other than that, I mean, what else geeky's happened? Szechuan sauce came out and left. And it's
Yeah,
coming
that
back
came
again.
out to much chagrin.
Did you see the article of the girl that traded one for a Volkswagen?
Yeah, I did. What the
Notice I was nice and said Volkswagen and not Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. Forza.
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 I drive a Volkswagen in Forza.
No, but you want to talk about
On
some
my way, waiting to play Castle Wolfenstein.
stupid fucking people. That's some fucking stupid shit, dude.
What's that?
Trading a fucking car for a fucking tub of sauce? A little
Right.
tub? Give me a fucking break. Those are those same fucking people that are going to get mad over loot boxes.
Right, they are. They are. Yeah, I don't want to get back to loot boxes. Man, I could have dragged that on for so much longer. Like, we can have a whole conversation about that. If someone wants to email
I was really trying to egg you on.
If someone wants to email in about the RNG stuff, we can certainly talk about it more. Or, hell, you know what? 8 o'clock next Friday, hop into our Discord and, join in hang out with us on the show for a little bit and discuss your opinion on RNG loot boxes. But, yeah, RNGs have been in the geek world forever. You had baseball cards, magic cards, blind bags, even when you kill a boss in an MMO, or anything, if you kill a boss in the game, a boss has a loot table. You kill that boss, there's an RNG selection of loot that comes out of that boss's drop. You open a chest, that's essentially a loot box. It's no different. All that they are doing is going, hey, there's something really cool that drops from Arthas that you want. Pay us $5, we'll give you an extra roll.
Right.
That's all they're doing.
And Elise says that car could have been growing moss in someone's yard and rusting out. Could have been. Wasn't.
Could have been. Could have been a cowboy.
Now, I mean, oh, that's a really nice frame to that Charger you have there. I'd like to buy that. Well, I'll tell you what, sir. You give me some Szechuan sauce. Not even very much. Just a little tiny thing of it. I'll give you that car.
It wasn't even a
Fuck
bucket.
no. Anybody with a little bit of sense would know enough to know that if somebody wants something like that, there's some real value there. I mean, maybe not a lot of value, but more than a fucking dipping tub.
But it's
what do
also,
you even call those? I keep calling them a tub. They're not a tub. What? A packet?
A dipping pack. A pack of sauce. A pack of sauce.
Pack of sauce.
A pack of sauce with a
You
liter
want
of cola.
A liter of cola? Pack of sauce?
I'll have a liter of cola. We don't have any liter of cola. Give me a goddamn liter of cola. What's a liter of cola? I cannot wait for Super Troopers 2.
I don't want a large farva. I want a goddamn liter of cola. Yeah, I know. I'm excited. Now, I wonder, with that movie, do you love that movie the whole way through, or do you love the first, hour and then it's kind of just a movie? Because everything memorable in that movie for me is within the first half of the movie. You boys like Mexico?
Yeah, so that's obviously the very beginning. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
All the jokes you make are right there.
Where's the shenanigans one?
That's still a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it gets serious.
There's Steve, if you want to dive into that.
There's Steve. Steve, you're dumb. I dove into it. 2K18 is awesome.
Steve, run down
why
your gripes in the chat so we can bounce that back and forth.
You know why Steve's upset? Because his favorite wrestler is John Cena, and he wasn't able to get the Cena-ff edition.
Oof, that is brutal.
So Steve is upset.
Steve might be in the car driving down here to kick your ass for that one. Brutal. Brutal.
Your time is up. Your time is now. You can't see me. My time is now.
A lot of the arguments I have with games like that are only add, don't subtract. So, if you had New Age Outlaws in last year's edition, but you're going to add other characters this year, but take out New Age Outlaws. So, if you have the Hardys and the Dudleys.
Hardys are in there now. Dudleys aren't.
Right. But just hypothetical, man.
Right.
Hypothetical. Shut your fucking...
No.
No. So, if you have the Dudleys and you have Hardys, right?
Yeah.
Aren't you going to want Edge and Christian and the Outlaws?
Right.
Or at least Edge, Christian, the Dudleys,
well, what's
and
great
the Hardys
is in this
for
one,
TLC.
the Dudleys are gone, but you have Edge and Christian, and for the first time in a long time, you have the Hardys.
Right.
Which means you get a proper TLC
match. Well, that's
match.
the point. That's quintessential. But if you want to have...
But, there's no Goldberg.
Right. There's no Goldberg?
No.
Fuck, dude. So if you wanted to have, a quintessential Attitude Era kind of game, shouldn't all those people be there? Shouldn't it be, an MMO or whatever where it's just you add? You don't subtract, you add.
You aren't wrong. I agree with you.
Do an online game where you're just adding to it, right?
It's the behind-the-scenes thing. It's the behind-the-scenes thing. So a lot of the big names they have are people who they own the property to the characters.
Right.
Things like that. So I mean, it would be nice. No, I'm in the mindset where for the games it makes sense for, like obviously an adventure game is an adventure game. You're going to have Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. You're going to have Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, but even that, maybe not. Make all these things platforms. Like Madden, stop giving me Madden 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Give me fucking Madden. Sell me a $40 roster update every year.
Exactly what I'm saying.
WWE,
That's exactly it.
give me WWE 2K.
Right.
And then charge me $10 a month. I don't give a shit. Maybe not a monthly fee, but charge me $30 every 3 months.
Roll it
for
into
like
the network,
roster
man.
updates.
Make it $9.99 for the network, $15 if you want the game updates too.
Right, and that would be great. And
then
that
you
way,
can access the network in game.
Because, for example, right now you go and play, right? Like you go play 2K18, the game that's technically not even out yet. It comes out Tuesday.
Right.
We have early access because I bought the collector's edition.
Right.
Bobby Roode is still in NXT. Obviously, the Shield's not together. Enzo and Cass are still together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like 6 months behind.
Right.
Now, that's always been my contention with wrestling, because the reason I always praise wrestling and I always praise pay-per-views is that wrestling is fake. Because wrestling is fake, they can always put on a good show. Because wrestling is fake, when this game is in development, they can leak to them, look, this is what's going to be roughly about current when the game releases.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the whole, like, we don't want it to be up to date because we want them to buy it next year.
Right.
But the roster shouldn't already be out of date. And I don't care.
If you're always a step behind, you need to have updates.
It might be tinfoil hatty. It might be conspiratorial. I don't know. But I promise you, ever since 2K started doing them, I believe 2K13 was the first one. But before that was when THQ went under.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the one thing that you and him will agree on, Steve, is he said the same thing.
So what I'm about to say is
just the developer change fucked things up.
Right, but I don't agree with that. I think they're better now that it's 2K. I like it. I like that it's more simulated now, which I know people don't like the simulation, and you can turn it off.
Well, is there anything I can say that you're going to agree with me on, or are you going to contend everything forever?
I've agreed with things.
No, you haven't.
But the last thing that I was going to say was, if you go back and you look over the last 4 years or 5 years since they got it in 13.
Yeah.
Every single time that the game comes out, there is a massive change in WWE proper within that month.
That seems fitting, right?
That doesn't make the game. Now, you have the online creator wrestlers.
So you're saying that everything changing drastically a week before the game comes out is by design?
I mean, it seems it.
It definitely seems it.
Because, like, the Shield just got back together. We've been begging for it for years.
Right.
The one thing they could fucking do to get us to cheer Roman Reigns.
They have to. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, it's the only way. But, man, wasn't that fucking awesome. So, anyway, we are going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover before we do?
No, let's wrap up.
Cool.
Let's have that nice half-hour break.
If you are in the southern Maine, northern Massachusetts, New Hampshire area, and you would like to go see Star Wars with us, our movie podcast, Movie Busters, is doing a meetup for Star Wars Episode 8. We are going to the Thursday, December 14th showing. It is the very first showing at that theater. It is at 6 p.m. We will be there around 4:30, depending on work schedule for Mr. Brandon and what time he gets out that Thursday. But we will be there early. We will have things to give away, such as some Star Wars Funko Pops. We'll have some $5 Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. So we're going to get some people together and hang out and go watch Star Wars. We will have a recorder there so we can record thoughts and opinions, and they'll get played on our movie show and probably on this show too. We'll do photos and group things, and it'll be a lot of fun. There's a bar right there on that theater, so we can have some drinks. But it'll be a good time. So look
at the very least, come drink.
Yeah, look up Movie Busters on Facebook and check as going or interested on the event page. And we hope to see as many of you there as possible. As there was one other thing that I wanted to cover. That was and our wrestling podcast is back. We brought it back last week with our review of Hell in a Cell, which was a great pay-per-view to come back to. So if you are a wrestling fan at all, go ahead and check that out on its feed. That was awesome. Or if you're on the, if you subscribe to the mega feed, you already have it because it's there as well. No, it was a great pay-per-view and it was a lot of fun. So we will be doing that next Sunday, not this Sunday. This Sunday will be Movie Busters. Next Sunday for TLC, which will be a good match. We get Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor. And other big matches. My mind is having a blank right now. So
my whole night has been a blank.
Yeah. If you are watching live in the Twitch chat room, first off, thank you for hanging out with us live. Secondly, be sure to stick around because in about 20-ish or so minutes, we will have Mr. Tom Merritt from Daily Tech News Show, Current Geek, Let's Talk About Star Wars, and also a regular guest on the morning stream with Scott Johnson. So hang out for that. He is a man much smarter than either of us. Mm-hmm. And he's great conversation. So we are very excited to have him on. Again, a big thank you to our live chat room. A big thank you to everybody that is listening in the podcast form. If you would like to watch this show live, you can watch it live on Twitch at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Friday nights at twitch.tv/InkedGeekStudios. Be sure to join our Discord. You can go to tiny.cc/IGS Lounge, which is the link to get into our Discord. It is a permanent link, so you can use that at any point in time. Get in there, hang out with the rest of the community as we kind of migrate everybody in there. And we're going to start doing live call-ins on the show via Discord. So if you are there and active in the call waiting room and you have something to say about something we're talking about, we will grab you from the call waiting room and let you kind of say your piece. Other than that, I think that's it.
Call waiting room is exciting.
I hope it becomes active.
It should be.
It would be a lot of fun.
It should.
But yeah, what do I not usually do? Thank you to DJ Tebow for our music. Thank you to Amy Frost for our artwork. What do I not usually do on these things? Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/IG Studios. Annalisa is back. And as Annalisa says, give him $1. Yeah, other than that, all Geek'd Up Pod on Twitter.
Steve says, this is finally running smooth. Well, the show's over.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
All Geek'd Up Pod on Twitter, all Geek'd Up Podcast @gmail.com for the email. And I think that will do it. Yeah. Follow Brandon at Crimson Flag everywhere with a K and 2 G's.
K and 2 G's everywhere.
Follow me at XCynicX, which is XSYNEKX. And yeah. InkedGeekStudios.com for everything else.
Yes, sir.
So for our live audience, for Brandon, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you next week. You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.